They labeled me and disabled me and said they saw no change. He said, Chris, from the hood, he just ain't gonna make it. So now they talk about portray us and the way he portrays us, and all I can say is look at the media and the ways it portrays us, how that phenomenon has so many layers, how the way I look when the camera's on affects the way that they grade us. But I'm still the greatest, like Ali. And probably, improperly, and awkwardly, they got me locked with mediocrity. But their prophecies were pure hypocrisy. They couldn't stop me. When they locked me at the green light, I just moved on red. When they locked me at the green light, I just moved on red. And that, for me, I say to myself in the mirror every time I go through an obstacle. And so the first message I want to share with you guys is this. The only one better than you is embedded in you. And you're going to go through life sometimes where people are going to say things about you. Or people are going to expect things from you because of where you come from, or how much money your family makes, or what color you are, or your background. And the one thing I want you guys to understand is this: no matter what anybody says to you, your present situation can never define where you're going to go and where you're going to be. And the only person that's going to be better than who you are is the person inside. And the minute that you let somebody define for you who you're supposed to be, you let them win. And so, remember that the only person better than you is deeply embedded in you. The second thing I want to say to y'all is part of that rap that is said, when they lock you in at the green light, you just move on red, and then you flip the whole world on its head with hip-hop ed. Now listen, when I go to the university campus and I go to shake the hands of professors, or I get invited to the White House and I shake the hands of people, or wherever I go where I meet people, oftentimes, no one there looks or acts like me. Like, I have learned that I spent a whole lifetime trying to be something that wasn't who I was. So I learned that when I was like out there with my other professor friends, I have to take my hat off for that. I got to go over here like, hey, hello, Christopher Brandon, nice to meet you. Yeah, Andrew Biochemist, nice to meet you. You know what I mean? And like every time I go to there, like people were expecting me to be a certain type of person. And I spent my whole life trying to be something I'm not. And the minute that I ended up being a person that was proud of who I am and comfortable was when I realized that I can develop what I call a hybridized identity. Everybody say hybridized.
Hybridized.
Louder, hybridized.
Hybridized.
One more time, louder, hybridized.
Hybridized.
For you to be great, you have to have a hybridized identity. To hybridize is to be able to rock a suit, you know what I mean? Have your pockets squared up, you know what I mean? Have my tie clip on, you know, my wingtips are shined up. But at the end of the day, I can still rock my hip-hop ed hat. To be hybridized is to be able to compare different parts of who you are and make them all come together at once to showcase your brilliance. To be hybridized is to say, you know what? I love music. But because I love music, doesn't mean I'm just going to be a musician. I'm going to be a musician / scientist. I'm going to be an artist / dancer. I'm going to be a cheerleader who's a chemist. I'm going to be black from the hood and smart. I'm going to be Puerto Rican or Dominican or Mexican and still be known. And so I want you guys today, when you first realize that the only person better than you is embedded in you, start realizing that you don't have to chase an image of who you're supposed to be. You can be who you are and brilliant at the same time, like Tuesday. It's the second thing. The third thing I want to share, you guys listen to me? Listen, St. Lucie, I'm talking from my heart to you guys today. You know what I mean? The third thing I want to say is, and this one is real personal, it's never stop trying. And I know that sounds simple, and that sounds corny, like, yo, what do you mean never stop trying? But I want to tell you a story about, anybody ever heard of 409? It's like this thing you spray and you clean stuff and it cleans everything perfectly. People always ask, like, why do they name that thing 409? Do you know why? Say that again loud, bro. 409 times before they perfected the formula that made them millions of dollars. Could you imagine if that person believed they had an idea that they could make great, and they stopped after the 407th time, or like, you know what, it's too hard, man, I quit. They would never get 409. Whenever you believe in something, you've got to always try harder and harder each time.
Let's go.
You can't quit at the first time that it's hard. In fact, the first time that it's hard is the time you gotta keep going. Remember that verse I said, when they lock you in at the green light, you move on red? You know what I mean by move on red? It means, what does a red light do? It tells you to stop, right? The minute that the world tells you to stop, that's when you really gotta keep going. Now I'm not saying run a red light and crash the car. I'm talking metaphorically right now. You know what I mean?
Oh, I was about to crash my car.
You get to a point in your life where the red light comes, that's the time that you actually have to start moving. You with me?
Yeah. Nah, fam.
Alright? Y'all wanna hear more? Yeah. Listen, this is my lessons for y'all, right? You know, I once had a meeting with a dude, and he was a really, really smart guy. He was really, really brilliant. He was like, you know, he recently made like his first couple of millions of dollars. So he's rich, he's powerful, he's made all this money, and he got this huge contract. And when I met him, I was like, yo, you're a multi-millionaire. You're all over television. People love you. You know, what's the first thing you're gonna buy? He was like, I'm gonna buy a house for my mom. And I was like, that's amazing. You're probably gonna buy a multi-million-dollar mansion for your mom. And he was like, nah, the house that I'm buying costs about $450,000. And I was like, you bugging, son? Like, you just made a couple million. Why is the first thing you're gonna do buy a house that you can easily afford? And he said, I don't live my life for what people think I should be doing. I live my life for what's right by me. Yo, that's crazy, like that's amazing. And then he made me remind of myself. He was like, yeah, I'm an entertainer, because he was a rapper. He was like, yeah, I'm an entertainer, but my job at entertainment is to have a responsibility. I'm like, a responsibility to who? Responsibility to the people who keep buying your albums? He was like, no, I have to be a role model for my brother and sister who's looking at me. That's the next lesson. You can never ever be great and as great as you want to be until you have a responsibility to somebody else who's looking up at you. Everybody right now should pick a young person in their lives, your little brother, your little sister, a kid who lives in the street down the hall from you, a person who lives in the next building, and make sure that you become a role model for them. Because what happens is this, when you become a role model for somebody who's looking at you every single day, you can't afford to make mistakes. Because you live for them. It forces you to stay on point. So, right now, it's very easy to be like, St. Lucie, please, I'm not going over there. I gotta speak, and this is like literal, come talk to y'all honestly, like, literally like, no, Dr. Emden, he wants you to come down to South Africa to give a talk at the University of Witwatersrand. Like, this is facts. Right? And you're like, yes, you know, come, take the flight, we'll pay for it, we'll put you up at the hotel, and it'll be fine. And I was like, as long as it sounds great, and you're paying me a nice check, so I really would love to go. But I have a responsibility to all of my mentees in St. Lucie. I want you to get this out. Because I know they're watching me. And I know that they're expecting Dr. Emden to come and bring the heat when he comes. So I have to make a decision for you guys, not for them. You are the people who inspire me to do what I do every day. Without you, I couldn't do this work. And you have to be able to do that same thing for somebody who's looking at you every single day. So that you can't make negative decisions if you know your little brother's watching. Because he's going to follow everything that you're doing. And you won't know what's right to do and what's wrong to do. And you don't have to pick sides. You can have swag and still be smart. But you have to be the person that you would want somebody who's younger to look at you and see. Y'all feel me? So now I'm going to play you a video of that brilliant rapper. Who gave me all that advice about being a role model. And I want you to watch this clip of an interview from him. So, I'm gonna play that right now. Can I get some clip movement? While they work on the clips, I got the clips moving. By the way, do you guys know what hip hop is? Nobody, you didn't want to ask what was on my hat? Hip Hop Ed is the largest new movement across the world of young people who love hip hop, but are also love education. And they're gonna show the whole universe that I can love hip hop and be hip hop and educational at the same time. And right now there's hashtag hip hop ed on Instagram, hashtag hip hop ed on Twitter. And right now, as the co-founder or one of the founder of Hip Hop Ed, I am officially declaring every young person who is in this room right now as an official member of the Hip Hop Ed family. Let's go. You're part now of a group that's in New York, and a group that's in LA and in Houston. We are all part of this new movement to be brilliant in hip hop at the same time. So now let me show you, clip slide. I'm gonna show you this video from this dude. Could we play that video? No, not that one, skip it. That's for tonight. We're gonna skip that too, that's for tonight. Who's coming tonight? I have no idea what we want to do tonight. Skip that, that's for 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 tonight. If you don't come tonight, you're gonna be, man. Skip. No, don't skip that. Play that one for me, please. This is the rap I was talking about.
It's always dope when a successful artist gives credit to their predecessors, and once again, Kendrick Lamar is Lamar explains how fellow Compton rapper Eazy-E deserves the credit.
Oh no, don't focus.
I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Eazy, and I wouldn't be able to say the things that I say, talk about my community the way I talk about it, for good or bad. He's 100% influenced me in terms of really being not only honest with myself, but honest about where I come from, and being proud of where I come from. Kendrick continued his praise by saying, what made Eazy special was that he was telling a different type of truth.